Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we will review a movie called Rose Island. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Enjoy. In November 1968, in the city of Strasbourg, Jean-Baptiste Thomas arrives at the Council of Europe, ready to start his working day. After noticing a weirdly shaped car in the parking lot, he enters the building and finds a sick man lacking winter clothes waiting at the bench, so he asks the guard Gary about him. Gary explains the man is Italian engineer Giorgio Rosa, who has been here all week, and the weird car belongs to him too. Giorgio claims to be the head of the state, has brought a file for the council to see, and won't leave until they do. In order to get rid of him, Jean makes a big deal out of accepting the file from Gary and taking it to the office with him. But as soon as he enters the room, he throws it in the trash. He changes his mind, however, when he notices the file has the UN logo on it. After reading what is on it, he urgently rushes Gary to send Giorgio to his office so they can grant him an audience. Giorgio requests their help to save the island he's built, but since Jean and his co-worker are skeptical, he begins telling his story from the beginning. A year ago in Bologna, Giorgio is at a bar with his best friend Maurizio Orlandini and other classmates celebrating their graduation from college. He leaves the celebration behind though when he suddenly sees his ex-girlfriend Gabriella and decides to invite her to have a drink with him. Giorgio asks her about her boyfriend, who she's having a rough time with, and is surprised to hear they've been together for 3 years, which is almost as long as Giorgio has dated her. He thinks Gabriella's dad likes this guy, which frustrates him because the man has always hated him. So Gabriella has to remind him the only reason why her dad hated him is that Giorgio made his TV explode and never apologized to either of them. They start arguing over the TV and the fact Gabriella may get married when she notices how late it is, so he offers to drive her home. They take the car Giorgio himself has built, which impresses Gabriella, and the two of them actually manage to chat happily even when she admits they broke up because dating him is too risky. A moment later, they are stopped by the police who point out the car has no license plate. When asked for papers, Giorgio gives them an ID, but he doesn't have a driving license either. All this lack of responsibility makes Gabriella angry. After checking his records, the police find out Giorgio also has a criminal record, a flying ban to be precise, because he tried flying an unregistered plane he built himself too. When an officer gets in his car to confiscate it, Giorgio freaks out, so he gets arrested and spends the night in jail. The following morning, he's bailed out by his father Ulyss Rosa, who wishes his son acted normal. He's found a job for Giorgio, engineer for a very famous motorbike racer, but Giorgio isn't happy with the idea, so after a very sarcastic thanks, he gets out of the car and leaves his dad behind. Next, he goes to see Gabriella, who is teaching a class about natural law and how things that are legal aren't always right. When she sees him enter the classroom, though, she cuts the class short after only 10 minutes so she can talk to him in private. She's furious because now she has a record, and that may bite her in the rear when she tries to get tenure. Giorgio's apology is lackluster, and he'd rather talk about the moment they had in the car, but Gabriella turns him down, saying that he isn't a genius, that his inventions only get everyone in trouble, and that if he wants a world without rules, he should build his own. Giorgio doesn't get it's a metaphor and actually considers the idea. 3 months later, Giorgio has accepted to work for the motorbike racer, although he hates it because it doesn't challenge his mind. While holding a sign for the racer to know about a change in strategy, he gets distracted by a billboard showing an oil platform, which inspires him with a brand new idea. However, this also means the racer doesn't get to read the sign and ends up crashing, so he punches Giorgio in the face for it. Back in the present, more and more council members keep appearing in the office, fascinated by the story. They're a bit skeptical to hear these two guys transported some pillars, installed them on the seabed, and built a giant platform without getting anyone's attention. Giorgio explains that they didn't, but only at first, then goes back to his story. To be an independent island, you need to have your own fresh water, so they successfully install a drill that provides them with it. The giant drill tower gets the attention of the Coast Guard, who thinks their tower is a transmitting antenna used for the illegal occupation of public airwaves. But as soon as they explain they're just drilling for water, they're left alone, since that's not illegal. Sometime later, when the platform is finally done, Maurizio returns with the workers to the mainland. But Giorgio decides to stay his first night on the new island. Only he, the sea, a radio, and some coffee. Things go well at first, but soon it starts raining, which Giorgio thinks he can avoid by standing under his beach umbrella. However, in the middle of the night, the light rain becomes a full storm with tall waves that keep hitting the platform and a strong wind that blows away his umbrella. It's during this storm that a boat approaches the island asking for shelter, and that's how Pietro Bernardini, a castaway welder, becomes the first resident. Back in the present, Giorgio's little meeting has become a full audience with the entire Council of Europe. A secretary is introducing the ministers to residents of the island. After talking about Pietro, he brings up Wolfgang Rudy Neumann, a PR manager for beach clubs. He lost his German citizenship when he deserted from the army, but since he entered Italy illegally, he doesn't have an Italian citizenship either. He's stateless. Meanwhile, Giovanni is having a meeting at the Vatican with a very important cardinal that asks him to do something about the island soon because it's appearing in the newspapers, and they can't hide it from the Pope, who will not approve of such rebel ideas. When he returns to the Chigi Palace, he discovers dozens of letters have arrived from people asking to cancel their Italian citizenship, and similar requests are happening in governments around the world. Nervous and upset, Giovanni orders Franco to solve this problem as soon as possible if he doesn't want to suffer the consequences. This results in an agent visiting Ulysses at work. In the meantime, at the island, things are quiet because it's raining, not exactly party weather. Maurizio wants to start planning something to do for when summer ends and is shocked to hear Rudy, Franca, and Pietro are leaving, but Giorgio quickly catches on to what's going on. Unlike him, his friends did take the offer from the agents. Sad and betrayed, Giorgio goes to visit Ulysses, who has been fired from work under saying his performance hadn't been good when he had been nothing but an excellent, obedient worker. Not wanting his son's education to go to waste and disappointed by the dirty tactics the government is pulling, Ulysses encourages Giorgio to turn down the deal and fight for his island. Giorgio goes to see Gabriella, finding her at the movies with her fiancé. He wants her to be his lawyer in this legal fight he's about to start, but she refuses. She points out he shouldn't have written to the UN since he may be on international waters, but he's still an Italian citizen. And if he wants to achieve anything, he should visit the Council of Europe. So he does exactly that after taking his car back from the impound lot and stealing a license plate from another vehicle, not to be stopped by the police again. And that's how he's here now, in front of the whole council, telling his story. Once he's done, he's asked to wait in the lobby while the council decides how to proceed. Meanwhile, in Italy, Franco is congratulating his agents for having managed to buy off all the island's residents when the news of Giorgio being with the council is brought to him. Giorgio is currently being congratulated by Jean, who informs him his story has impressed the council, and they have accepted to review his case. But their talk is interrupted by Franco calling the lobby, demanding to talk to Giorgio. He picks up the call, and after they argue for a while about what it means to found this state, Giorgio tells him about the council having accepted to analyze his case. This makes Franco desperate, so he threatens to use Italy's military arsenal to blow the island to pieces. Seeing as the island is now in danger, Giorgio rushes back to Italy to try to save it, only stopping on the way to call his mom, who doesn't care much about hearing the island problems. In the meantime, Gabriella is shopping for her wedding cake when she notices the shop sells souvenirs shaped like the island, which makes her reconsider what she's doing with her life. She decides not to get married and goes to the port to join Giorgio in his boat and go together to Rose Island. Once there, she asks him if it's true they built the island for her, then she kisses him. The following morning, they're woken up by the noise made by an Italian Navy battleship approaching them. In Chigi Palace, Franco asks Giovanni to authorize the attack. Giovanni at first thinks he's joking, but when he realizes he's being serious, he refuses, not wanting to sign an act of war. Franco reminds him he asked him to fix the issue by any means necessary and informs him that Giorgio has been heard by the Council of Europe, so they have no other choice. There's a commotion on the mainland as well. Curious bystanders and all news outlets are coming to the shore to see the explosion. When Rudy, who's about to close his deal, hears about this, he leaves the bar and finds Maurizio to ask him to join him in going back to defend the island. Maurizio thinks they can't because they aren't allowing boats to enter the water, but Rudy has an idea. That's how the two of them, Franca and Pietro, enter the water skiing competition, only to drive away in the middle of the race to return to the island. Thinking the Navy is just trying to scare them, the six of them stand on the edge of the island holding hands, only to be surprised by the Admiral shooting the cannons now that they have Giovanni's authorization. It's only a warning shot, so after the initial shock, the group goes back to the edge to stand their ground. The second shot lands much closer to the island, but this still isn't enough to make them come back, so the Admiral sends his soldiers to raid the island and arrest the group. While Giovanni and Franco appear on the news as heroes, Giorgio's parents follow the case on the radio, and Jean reluctantly throws away the island's file. The group is taken away in the Navy's ship, and Giorgio can only watch as bombs are put on the pillars and the island is blown up. Afterward, he apologizes to Gabriella for what he did to her dad's TV, but she tells him that doesn't matter anymore. What matters is to change the world. Without the island existing anymore, the Council of Europe couldn't close the case. To prevent this from happening again, the UN moved the border of international waters from 6 to 12 nautical miles all around the world. Giorgio and Gabriella got married and lived together for the rest of their lives. Here we come to end of our video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of our video. Thanks for watching.